Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Marilyn Shannon and this is the Breaking Free Show, and I am very happy to have you here today because we have all kinds of things to talk about, all kinds of things to touch upon. I don't know, maybe we'll solve the world's problems all in 1 hour. Who knows? It's worth a shot, don't you think? Anyway, I'm glad to have you here, and I know that your time is precious, and it's precious to have you here. So thanks ever so much, and I want to say hello to Amnon.
Hello, Marilyn. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you, and you?
I'm fine.
Good. What's happening?
And nothing happening. Weird weather. That's about it.
Weird weather. Weird. What do you mean by weird weather?
Look at us and look what's happening just a few miles down.
Weird weather. Weird. I mean, really weird. It- so anyway, Amnon is our producer and cohort, and he's great because I can sit here and say, okay, what do you think about this, Amnon? And he's going to give
And
me
I'll
his,
tell you.
and he's going to tell me whether he likes what I say or he doesn't. So it's great. So I'm happy to have him here. But really, yeah, the weather is crazy, and I want to talk about that for a second. But before we go on, I want you to know that you are always welcome to call into this show about anything. 919-518-9773, or connect with us on Skype at computers, that's plural, number 2, K, voice, and then there's a chat window right next to the video that you're watching. Please feel free to engage with us there. Never knowing what's going to happen, but it's exciting, and at any point, feel free to do that. This show is all about us. It's a way for us to talk. If you want a little encouragement about something, a little advice, maybe some kind of aha that you want to share with the world, with our world, I want to know it because one aha builds on another aha, and the more ahas we have, the more hopeful the world is. So feel free, please, to share it with us. So the weather, so it's Groundhog's Day.
Right. And I don't know how they took him out right when the sun came out for about a few seconds. And oh yeah, he saw his shadow.
But that's interesting because I was reading a little bit about groundhogs, and it's always the sunnier it is, the more the that means that there'll be more winter. So isn't that
Oh,
interesting?
okay, well,
I mean, think about it. The more light and sun that they see in the moment that there is means more winter. And it's
if
cloudy, it means it's going to be sunny.
sun,
I
if
don't know. That's really kind of crazy to me.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard about Groundhog's Day that. Oh yeah, he didn't see his shadow. I don't
Oh,
remember seeing that.
oh, really? So you've always heard
It's
that it was
always
always going
oh
to
yeah,
be
he saw
like
his
a
shadow. Oh
short.
yeah, he saw his shadow.
Really? Well, Chris, I don't know if Chris is listening yet, but she and I were talking this morning about groundhogs, and she's from up there, and she said, man, they go to town. It's a holiday.
Yeah.
College kids, everybody, it's like a big deal. So
Well,
it works for me. Okay, so there's all kinds of things to talk about. One of the things that is on the tip of my tongue and on a lot of people's tongues is the Super Bowl. And I am not a Super Bowl fanatic. I know very little about football. I mean, I might know a little bit more about baseball, a little about hockey. I can see it, I can understand it. Football, I have no clue. So maybe that's good in some ways. Uh, but the game yesterday was intriguing to me because of this era that people are talking about. Have you heard about it? Okay, so if anybody out there knows about football, I would love you to call in and talk to me about this because I have some ideas. And this show, our show, is about us communicating. Amnon, could you put up that first um, slide? Okay, here it is. This show gives you the license to say whatever you want without fear of judgment and or criticism. So please feel free to call in. Open yourself up, and the world will open up with you. That's the show, Breaking Free. We're going to show this quote every single time we do our show because that's what this is about. It's about opening up, being vulnerable, no matter what, and sharing whatever comes to mind. So please feel free to do that. So, if you have any idea about football, I would love you to call in. But I asked my husband this morning to explain to me a little bit about what happened, and it appears that the Seahawks on the 5 yard line, I guess, most people would have expected them to run with the ball, but instead they passed. And everybody is saying, or not everybody, but many people are saying that this was probably one of the craziest things a coach could have done in the history of football. And I find that to be extremely interesting because I sit back and I wonder, how often is it that we make a thing and we become a hero? So he didn't want to do what everybody expected him to do.
He's the coach.
He's the coach. He did not want to do what everybody expected him to do. He wanted to do something that threw people off, that they wouldn't be aware of, right? He wanted to take a chance. And I think that's a really interesting conversation. Everybody expected him to run the ball because the best runner or the greatest person was holding the ball, and he chose not to do that. He chose to do something else, catch people off guard. So I think that's extremely interesting. And the other thing I find interesting is that the other team, the guy who became like the winning player, is somebody, I heard him being interviewed today. This is like all new to him. He never expected to even ever have an opportunity to be in the Super Bowl. And here he becomes a hero. And he had very little to say because he's not even used to being interviewed. It's like, it was really interesting. So, can you put up this next slide for me? There we go. Okay. So I like this one too because I think this has something to do with what we're talking about. The 3 C's of life: choices, chances, and changes. You must make a choice to take a chance or your life will never change. And so this is what I'm making up, and I'm sorry, this is what I'm making up, that Pete Carroll, the coach, made a choice, he took a chance to make a change. And he may not have been the most popular one, and who knows, because in that split second, that's another thing I wanted to know. How do you coach someone in a split second to go from something they're accustomed to doing and you don't know they're going to be there? How do you know that they were going to end up in that spot right then and there, that the choice was going to be to pass or to run? And in a split second, how do you know that?
They have a team psychic.
The team psychic. No. But really, how do you know? How are you coached in that split second to make something different happen? I think stuff happens, and I don't think sometimes you can control it. And call me crazy, but I think that this was kind of meant to be on some level. That's all, and that maybe it was a mistake. But I think that there are no mistakes. I know. There's only lessons to learn. And here we have this young kid who has an opportunity to be a star, who never would have been a star before, being in the right place at the right time. So, I don't know. Anybody have any comments about that? Anybody want to, let's see, what are they saying? Let's see. Chris says, the game of life is a lot like football. You have to tackle your problems, block your fears, and score your points when you get the opportunity. That's interesting. I like that a lot. I think, Susie says the fighting was silly. Yeah, fighting is always silly. The fighting was silly. Yeah, I think it's always silly. Fighting is always silly, and I don't know who's doing it and why they do it. When I used to watch the hockey games, it's almost like people are paid on some level to go ahead and fight. It makes the game more interesting. Would you say?
Sure.
Okay, so if anybody has anything they want to share about what happened, please call in. But as I listen to what happened, I see a slight chance that this man made a mistake. I see some lessons. I see, a way for us to look at ourselves, how we react to things, who we blame, how we blame, why we blame. Because in the split second, I mean, come on. I mean, really, you have to just go with something. And I think that they went with something, and here's this young African American young boy who got a chance. And now he's somebody, Matt Lauer this morning says he will never in Pennsylvania have to pay for another meal again. I think he's from Pennsylvania. Interesting. So the other thing I found interesting about the game was that there was 47 minutes of commercials.
Wow.
47 minutes of commercials. That's a lot of minutes of commercials.
Yeah.
Would you say?
Just imagine how much money they made.
Well, I don't know. I was trying to do a little research this morning because I find, it's got to be millions. But the other thing was the first commercial or two was 60 seconds or 90-second commercials. And I did not, I personally, I used to work for NBC years past, and I sold commercials for the Super Bowl. And when that was fun. And 20 some odd years ago, I sold a commercial, local, not national, for my local NBC market for $8,000, $9,000.
Yeah,
but I found it
that each commercial was
it's millions. It's
millions.
and millions and millions.
And they were showing one this morning on. They were showing one on Fox that it took $2,000 to make.
That's
and
nothing.
It was homemade.
Oh, really? Which one was that?
Something about Doritos. He was in a plane, and he was holding, and he was saving the seat next to him, and then he saw that woman, and he's showing her that, and
Wow.
then somebody walked away, and she was holding a baby, and
Wow.
but then she did end up with him, and he won $1 million.
Oh, so was that a contest that they? Because they've done
Yeah,
that before,
well,
haven't they?
Yeah, that was a Doritos thing
Okay.
that they
This year?
submitted 5,000 commercial, and he won.
And he won.
And they showed
Because they
his-
do that every year, I think.
I don't know. I don't
think
watch
they.
the game.
Well, I don't watch it.
I'm not
but-
into it at all.
Do you watch any sports?
I like to watch basketball. I like to watch swimming.
Swim.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch it, but it is. It is
I mean, you
really.
sit there and okay. How long is the game?
I don't know. It started. I think the actual game started at 6:30.
How long is a
6
football game?
A regular one? I
Yeah.
have no idea because I don't ever
There-
watch it.
Exactly.
But there was
there is no end.
Oh, there
It's
is no
like,
end?
Gosh, they just no. I mean, it's supposed to be a certain amount of time, but then it always stretches and stretches because of timeouts and because of.
So my
this.
mother asked me
So
an interesting
no,
question.
thank you.
She said, "Why is it so late? Why do they make the game so late?" And really, I think a lot of it has to do with, obviously, it's the money. The longer they make you wait, the more money they make. The more people are eating food, and everything has some,
Yeah, true.
is wrapped up, right? But 47 minutes, I really, that was a lot. And
That was a lot.
and that was a
That's a
lot. And the other thing is, I find the style of commercials, it's so interesting to see where people are going with things, because I think you could see trends happening when you watch something like the Olympics. I mean, not the Olympics, or even the Olympics for that matter, but something like the Super Bowl. You see trends. You see things that maybe you wouldn't see normally because people are spending crazy money that they're not normally spending, right? So there were a lot of commercials last night dealing with men, with fathers, and showing, all different fathers as heroes. I wrote this down too because I really find it interesting. Fathers as heroes, fathers as, we have somebody calling, yes. Hello? Hello? Somebody there? Okay, well, whoever it is, will you please call back again? Because I'd really love to hear from you. So that fathers as heroes, fathers as somebody that's there for you, showing men in a different light than maybe we are always accustomed. And my daughter said to me this morning, She said there weren't any really commercials, too many about women. Hello, hello.
Hey, it's Chris.
Hey,
How are you?
Chris. Good. How
Hi,
you doing?
Anand. I'm
Hello.
good. I'm good.
Good.
Hey, are we still talking about commercials?
Yeah.
Did you, I saw the Pepsi commercial last night, the anti-bullying positive message commercial.
Oh no, I didn't see
You know the
that.
one I'm talking about? Where, so everyone has their technology and they have the shots of the kids and the grown-ups, and then this guy at like Server Central, who kind of looks, reminds me of Amnon. Spills a Pepsi. The server, and it sends out all these good vibes. So like, there's some kids and there's some bullying going on. The negative messages like "you're no good," and then all of a sudden the screen changes and fades, and then a positive message pops up like, "You're wonderful, have a good day." And everybody's technology changes, and it's a really great message, very positive. And I thought of you when I saw it because you and I are talking about being positive and changing the messages and listening, and what would it be like if the whole world were re-enchanted and were positive, and that's the messages. Those are the messages we would get every day, and we wouldn't even bat an eyelid about it.
Right.
And I just thought of you and thought it was such a great commercial.
That
So I wondered
is a
if you
good
had seen it.
commercial. That is a good commercial.
Everybody all together. Oh.
Well, no, well,
Aw.
but even the but there were. I mean, you want to look at these things and get something out of it more than just what you see. Have it, pull at a heartstring, teach you something, show you something about something, right? That somebody's making a difference. It's the same thing with that Nationwide commercial. They said Nationwide said, do you know what commercial I'm talking about? They showed a commercial, I think, about a little boy that was depressing. It was about death. And,
I saw that one.
okay,
Yeah.
and was it about the little boy that was dead?
It was like, these kinds of things are preventable. That's the message that I got. But there was the bathtub that was filled to the rim. Then there was like a big piece of furniture that was laying on the ground. All, very, very common reasons why young children die.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. And
I remember that one.
Nationwide said this morning that the commercial was not to sell insurance, but it was to start a conversation.
Okay.
That's what they said this morning, and I want to believe that because it's hard for us to see these things. I mean, everybody in the past have come to these commercials to laugh, for a good joke, maybe make fun of someone, and it wasn't. I don't think they were necessarily like that. So it's definitely a shift.
Yeah, I definitely felt that as well, and I have to say though, I'm so skeptical. I like to think that the NFL and all the sponsors, all the advertisers wanted this shift. But, the NFL's image is so tarnished that I really think some of the shift in the commercial and the programming of the commercials was driven by their need and America's need to help the NFL fix their image. The domestic violence commercial, geared to raise awareness about domestic violence. You had the incident of Ray Rice a couple months ago. Mm-hmm. We've got NFL players who are charged with child abuse, and on and on and on and on. So I'm skeptical that it was just, hey, let's make positive programming. I think there was an ulterior motive to it.
Okay, so let's say that that's true.
Yeah.
What's
I hope not.
But even then, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with the ulterior motive of making a difference, of showing men?
But are they? Are they? I don't think so. I think they're manipulating the image. I think it has to do with money. I don't think it has to do with the goodness 100%. Of their hearts.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you.
But are all men violators?
It's
no.
Okay. So if you share things about men that are not, that have maybe not have been shared before, and that show that the other side of a man. What's wrong with that?
Because I don't think they're doing it for the right reason.
Maybe not. But what's the result?
Well, the result is I walk away not having heard the message.
So you don't walk away thinking to yourself, yes, there are good men out there too?
No, that's not what I'm saying. When I look at the program, it was the second commercial in, and I said, this doesn't feel right. This feels manipulative. Mm-hmm. This doesn't feel like the regular programming. And I paid more, some more attention to football just because this year for some reason. But it just doesn't seem genuine, and that turns me off.
Uh-huh.
Marilyn.
Yeah, go ahead.
If a commercial
right
will make you change your mind about there are good men out there, you have a problem.
Why is that?
Because a commercial cannot change your mind. I mean,
but it's not one commercial. It's an entire message. Where is it going to come from? Where's the message going to come from?
All over.
That's part of the place it comes
is,
from.
You keep and Chris, the one thing I don't agree is that they did not do it for the right reason. They did do it for the right reason. They did it to make money.
Yeah.
It's all a commercial event. That's all it is.
But even remember when they did what was it, the Dove commercial years ago or several years ago that showed women in all different sizes?
They have a team of people
that
would know how.
No question.
Look.
No
What
question.
was it when you were talking about that commercial with the kid?
Yes.
What was the first word that came out of your mouth? Nationwide.
Right.
See, they already accomplished what they set out to do. They are putting their name out in front of you, and everybody knows that's insurance.
Right.
So you think nationwide, you think insurance. They can say all day long, "Oh, we didn't do it to sell insurance." You're spending millions of dollars and not to make money.
I'm not saying that, but I'm also saying that there's the other side of things. And I'm saying that even if they use what they have to make a point, they use their money, they use their who they are in this world, right. Whatever they do to make a point, if it's going in a better direction, you're going to have to break away from where you've come from to something different.
Okay.
And it's going to be hard pressed not to keep going in that direction. You're not going to find ads that are going to talk about men in a negative way, but these things that they were talking about, but these things that they were talking about, these are true things too. It's not just that we have some, look, even in the news, how many times will they tell you there is better news than there is bad news? We're just focusing on the wrong thing. So, right? So at least, what?
Yeah. Oh, what? I'm just reading the comments. Susie, Annie, and Madge were talking about some of their favorite commercials. Susie Annie was saying her favorite commercial from last year is the 44 cold cuts. She's wondering if it was a Geico commercial, and she still laughs every time she sees it. And she's saying, I like a feel-good commercial. I think a lot of us do.
We all do, yeah.
Yeah, Madge is saying, I do think it happens for a reason. And then, Susie Annie was saying that the Cold Cuts commercial was not a Super Bowl commercial. It was just a good one. Uh-huh. And Madge then said she thought the commercials were awful, and her favorites were she liked the Doritos and the blue pill for Fiat. Did you guys see that one?
No. Which one was that?
Yeah, it was. It's like Italian for Fiat, and there was a woman, an older couple. Woman was in bed, and she was, ready for some adult relations with her husband.
Right.
And so he goes to the bathroom, and he reaches for what you can assume to be like Viagra. It's his only pill, and he doesn't quite grab it right, and it pops out of his hand, and it goes out the window. And then it travels all over the city, and it, bangs between lights, and it, has an extraordinary adventure. And it ultimately ends up in the gas tank of a Fiat. And so then the Fiat, pops out, and you make the inference that Fiat is a strong, virile car, and so it's a Fiat commercial. So it was
Okay.
and then
Yeah, well, okay. I mean, it's funny, I guess, right? I mean, it's got a little humor to it. I mean, also to me, it's a little obnoxious, but it's,
yeah,
but
you got those two.
I just think that in order to impact more and more people, we have to see more messages everywhere. And it sends a message to if you see a bully commercial, it's going to send some kind of message, maybe a plant a seed to a bully. If you see a message of a father who's waiting in the car for his son, it sends a message to the man who has no life balance, right? If you see some of these things, it is some look. I mean, something has to make a difference, and I don't care if Nationwide sells insurance. If they took a chance, now I didn't see the whole commercial, but if they took a chance and did something that was controversial, which it is obviously,
I don't
but
know,
yet
controversial,
unconventional, okay, and people are going to agree and disagree, but yet it's going to make you stop and think about your children or stop and think about yourself and what you do with them. Oh well.
for a couple of days.
Well, then the next person is going to take a chance and do something different.
Yeah.
I mean, chances.
No,
We have to take a chance.
I agree with you that positive messages out there can do nothing but help.
Yes.
But from what I understand, people watch the Super Bowl. A lot of them do, not because of the game, but because of the commercial. Because they are waiting for something really funny.
Mm-hmm. And I guess they didn't want all these serious things, right?
Exactly. That's what I'm.
But that's what
they got it.
They
yeah.
got it. They
And
got
it may
it.
be that at that point somebody got up and went to the bathroom. I forget. I know people that when you sit and watch TV and the dog commercial comes on,
Yeah.
turn the channel.
Why
Don't
is
want to
that?
watch it.
Why is that? Because they don't
I
like.
have no idea. I mean, we sit in company and
Mhm.
that's how it is. I mean,
Interesting.
you don't want to know about these things.
No, but
that's it.
you have a big audience.
I'm sitting here. I want to be entertained. I don't
Right.
want to be.
Right. We've talked about that before,
Yeah.
right? Here. Okay, just before you go on, Chris, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Anybody, please call. Everybody, anybody.
Oh, yeah.
We'd love to have you call in 919-518-9773 or chat with us in our chat window. It's going by so fast I can't read it, but somebody will tell me because it's going by so fast my eyes can't focus. And call us Computers 2K Voice if you'd like to share what's on your mind, what's in your heart, what you're feeling, something profound that's come to you. You want to get in on this conversation because I am a infamous, hopeful. I'm going to look at the things as best I can, and healthy excuses I call them. And honestly, the guy made a mistake, but it turned out interesting for this young kid. So call it what you will. Hold on a minute. Can you put up the next slide? Thanks. Here's another slide. Okay, so, yay, I made mistakes, but life doesn't come with instructions. I mean,
That's how you learn.
That's how you learn, and, I think some things are pretty clever, and how people go about things. What were you going to say, Chris?
I was reading through the comments, and we were going back to our favorite commercials.
Yeah.
Evidently, there was one, I didn't see it. Like a girl. What does like a girl mean to you? And I guess Madge and Susie Annie both saw it. I didn't see it, though. Did you?
No.
Okay.
But I might go back and look at some more of them, and after we have this conversation. Could you put up the next? After we have the next after we have this conversation, I just think that there's interesting things to talk about.
Do you want me to stay on, or do you want me to close up?
Whatever you feel like. Here, this one's interesting. Okay. Mistakes might not give you answers, but they give you questions for a greater answer. I didn't write it. I just look for the ones that meant what I wanted to say. I'm manipulating. I'm manipulating. But
That's
seriously,
the NFL.
yeah, but seriously, mistakes may not give us all the answers, but they do give us questions to dig deeper. I mean, what would somebody else have done, in those moments? I think is also kind of interesting. What would somebody else do? So anyway, we're going to move on. So let's. Anybody else want to call in? Please feel free to do that. I want to talk about just briefly. I also want to talk about this thing with Whitney Houston's daughter. I don't want to spend a lot of time, but I think it's very sad. They found her unconscious in the bathtub again, just like her mother. I don't know what the cause. I don't know what's going on, but I just feel sorry for the whole family. And it's tragic, and no matter how much money you have, no matter what fame and fortune you have, we're still people. That's all. We're still people, no matter what, how we dress, where we live, what we spend money on, how famous we are, doesn't matter. We're still a heart and a soul. So I think that's a very sad. So anyway, moving on with the show. Anybody have any great comments to share, please call in. I'm going to share with you this next slide. Can you put that up? So, my pledge to walk into the storm of conflict with head bowed and the determination to see where it takes me. Courage is facing a short-term discomfort to gain long-term peace. What do you think that means, Amnon? Do you have any idea? What do you think?
I'm reading it again.
Okay, let me read it. And I'm really into conflict because it's everywhere. And I believe that it's a spiritual tool in our tool case. And I think it's something to pay attention to, not to run away from, to face, to acknowledge, to understand, to embrace. So my pledge is to walk into the storm of conflict with my head bowed and the determination to see where it takes me. Courage is facing a short-term discomfort to gain long-term peace.
That's not for me because I mean, you can't. I'm in no position to walk into anything that will see where it'll take me. I mean, there are
No.
things I need to be doing. And
So
I
you need
cannot
to be
go and,
trust.
oh, it's going to take you somewhere. It's going
So
to.
faith, trust.
Yeah, I mean, it's
In
fine.
yourself.
There are some people that do that, and if the storm is of your making, or it has something to do with what's going on in your life, then yeah, do it. Go in and see what you can do about it to solve the problem. But to just talk about a storm, no.
Well,
I
sometimes-
stay inside. They tell you. If there's a storm, stay inside. Don't go out.
But sometimes that's why you go like this. And you squeeze in and you go for it anyway. You put a hood on and you go for it anyway. And you go right into it. Chris, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think so. I have young kids, and they fight, and they sometimes fight a whole lot. And it's really easy to just say, you go to your bedroom, you go over here, and you separate that. But that doesn't teach them anything. And there are times that you really do need to respond that way, just to separate them until they're both ready to problem solve. But I have found that when I don't run away and try to shut that down immediately, and I can kind of squeeze in there and get them to come and sit down, that's where the teaching takes place. And I think it's really important for kids to be able to figure out how to solve their problems.
Yep.
But if
Or
they don't know
anybody.
how, well, yeah, I'm saying I never specifically or implicitly learned how to problem solve, and I think that when you give kids that skill, or anybody that skill, that's a gift that they'll carry with them for their whole life. Now, it requires from a parent or an adult an extraordinary
Right.
amount of patience and courage,
Right.
not to always shut that down, and to try different things. Not every time do we come to the table are we are we able and willing to use the talking stick? We've used the talking stick a couple times with great success. And then there are other times where I worry that one of them wants to use the talking stick to hit the other one, and we weren't quite ready to use the talking stick in that moment. But I think overall, if you're not always trying to shut down the conflict, that there's a great deal to be
Shut
learned.
it down, you said? Shut it down? I don't
Yeah,
think you have to shut it
or
down.
run away from.
Right, running away
Just,
from it. I think people tend to, we've been, look at conflict as black and white.
mm-hmm,
And just like a mistake or a lesson learned, black and white. And I want to, and sometimes I think it's, maybe it is black and white, but there's all kinds of shades of gray with a lot of things. And I think conflict, my memory of conflict is black and white, no solving. There's a winner, there's a loser, there's pain,
yeah,
and period. And I want to say I don't think it's like that. I think that their conflict does not have to denote fear, war, or a winner or a loser. I think we all can win in dealing with conflict. And
mm-hmm,
I would very much want to keep this conversation alive. I think is so much between people.
mm-hmm,
There's so many subtle things that you know can somebody could put them in the conflict container, and people don't deal with it and walk away. It's the most subtle things that can be addressed anywhere with just somebody asking the right question or asking any question and
mm-hmm,
not walking away. And
yep,
I think it feels painful because we're vulnerable. We don't know, like Amnon said, we don't know the outcome. Well, maybe the outcome in itself, the best outcome you can ask for is just a personal peace that you address something regardless of the outcome. You always know
mm-hmm,
that.
Yeah, if it's something that has to do with you. I'm talking about the way that this was put. It's a storm somewhere.
Well,
Just walk into it. Yeah, I mean,
well,
yeah. But if the storm is about to do something outside to somebody that you care about, then you do go out there and you try to see, okay, now can we do something about it?
mm-hmm.
Or if
mm-hmm,
the storm is a conflict between you and somebody else, then if you bury your head in the sand, you're not getting anywhere.
I think it can be so easy to address a conflict. I mean, and
That's
it doesn't have to be
that's
resolution. See, that's what we think. That has to be a conflict has to be like some kind of resolution where it's just enough to know that I've addressed it. Could be enough.
mm-hmm.
Anybody? Okay, so Chris is on the line, but we can take more people on the line. We can
Yeah, I'm
have
going to get
more.
off the line.
Oh, you're getting off? Okay, well, stay close because I want to hear what you
I
have to
will.
say. Okay, but anybody, please call in. I mean, we have these conversations about bullies. We have, issues at home. We have issues at work. Our kids are having issues. There's issues everywhere about conflict. We've blown it completely way out, where we become so scared and vulnerable about what we should do, what we shouldn't do, how am I going to feel? I need to control this, I need to control that. I don't think it has to be that way. I think it can be resolved so easily. I mean, and even if there's no resolution per se. So call in, tell me what you think. I'd love to hear your points of view, your stories. Call in to 919-518-9773 or Skype in with us at Computers 2K Voice, or come in on the chat and let me know what your thinking is about conflict. And that's one of those things, I don't know, kind of like the Super Bowl commercials. You unveil something, you start to talk about it. Maybe people don't want to talk about it. Maybe you're about to hang up because you don't want to hear me talk about conflict, but I'm talking about conflict in a different way. I think that's part of some of what I'm learning is by talking about these things in a different way, our approach can be different, the outcome's going to be different, and the planet's going to be different. So give me a call, let me know what you think about conflict. So, okay, then can you put up the next slide? Oh, that's very small, isn't it? I can't read it. I have
Yeah.
to go to the next, my own copy. Okay, so let me, okay, so I am really interested in talking about flow. And, being in the flow, being in the zone. I think it's a very interesting um, conversation to have about what does it feel like to be in the flow. So the flow, in this quote, the creative moment when a person is completely involved in an activity for its own sake, for the activity's sake, for the person's sake. And that's Mahali, and I cannot pronounce his last name no matter what I do. And he has written the book, The Flow. And the interesting concept about being in the flow is that you are completely connected. You're totally conscious. You are in the flow. You're in that zone that no matter what anybody says to you, conflict or otherwise, does not take you out of that flow. You're there. Hello.
Hey.
Hey. What would you like?
Hi, it's Suziani.
Hey, Suziani. Hey, honey, how are you? How you doing?
Good. I had to call in when you started talking about the flow.
Oh, good. Good.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. Tell me, what do you think about the flow?
Okay,
You're
first
in,
of all,
and you're in
I
it,
call
right?
I call it being in the zone.
Yes.
Okay, and I've always been that way about my painting. I
Yes.
could get lost for hours with a paintbrush in my hand.
Yes.
But almost 3 months ago, on the 7th, it'll be 3 months, I picked up a guitar for the first time. Somebody gave me a guitar. My friend David gave me a guitar as a gift. And I have not put it down since. I play an average of 5 to 10 hours a day, sometimes
Wow.
longer. Saturday night, I play till 4 in the morning.
Wow.
In 3 months' time, I'm self-taught. David gave me a couple of lessons, a couple of pointers, and he said, you're on your own. And he's come back a couple of times, and we've actually jammed together. I never in my life thought that I could play an instrument. I'm not musical. I took piano lessons when I was a kid, but we sold the piano, and I got nowhere with that. So I don't read music or anything like that. And I don't want to do anything else. When I get up in the morning, when I go to sleep at night, the chords are playing in my head, the words to the song, the melody. I wake up in the morning, it's the same thing. And I'll make myself do my cleaning, do my chores. I shovel the snow already. And as soon as this show ends today, your show, I will take out my guitar and I will play the rest of the day. And I get mad when somebody calls and interrupts me.
Sounds like a problem.
But I get lost in it. There's nothing
So-
else. And listening to music, and I love music, is one thing, but making music is just such another.
So tell
it's a
me
whole nother
something.
world.
This is very interesting because tell me the difference between the feeling you have with the paintbrush and the different feeling you have with the guitar.
Well, initially I would have said it's the same thing, but I have a commission that I should have done months ago, and I haven't done it. But see, here's the difference. With painting, the muse is there and the muse isn't. Okay, the muse strikes and I can't stop painting, but it's like getting writer's block. Then all of a sudden you could paint. You could try to paint the
What?
painting, and I'll paint over the same painting 100 times because I'm not in the zone.
Oh, you want to see the next?
But with music and with the guitar, I don't know if that'll ever happen, but it hasn't happened yet.
So it's so interesting, isn't it? I mean, you're a perfect example. You're a perfect example of what I'm talking about. And that's
Yeah, it's like
fascinating.
it becomes an obsession, but when you're doing it, time flies and you don't even know where the hours went, and all of a sudden you're playing in the dark and it's nighttime, and it's like that's being in the zone.
Yes, that's being in the zone. So you are a perfect example of talking about this, because I think we can talk about being in the flow, we can talk about being in the zone, but you really feel it, and you really are your energy and the energy of the guitar become one.
Yes, but you see, the same thing happened last year when I started venturing out by myself on my bicycle, which I've had a bicycle for years, but only last year I started going on. I started challenging myself,
Uh-huh.
and I was so happy the one day when I did 7 miles, but then I was up to 30 miles a day riding my bicycle on the river with my camera, stopping and I'd be gone for 12 hours a day.
So you get into the flow.
Oh, I do.
Okay, so you get into, so regardless, it's not, this is not a different, this is not flow and the other wasn't flow.
I think
It's
it has to do with having passion, Marilyn. I think when you're passionate about something, that's where the zone and the flow come in. Because back in the day, and I'm talking back in the mid 90s, I wrote a book. I wrote a 500-page manuscript. I was a writer. I had an agent. I also had another book which I had a couple of contracts fall through on. But at that time, I was the same way about writing.
okay,
So I
so
think if you're a
yeah,
passionate person, and you find your passion,
yeah.
and I think you're a multi-passionate person the way I am, we have more than one passion, and I think we can put all our energy in it, in any of our passions.
And
I think the
yeah,
difference with me is
yeah.
I now have the time. In past, different episodes, different chapters of my life, let's say, when you're raising your kids, you can't devote that kind of time to yourself and something that you're passionate about.
But I don't think you can only go into the flow or in the zone when you have time. I think it's important to find it even when you don't have 10, 15 hours a day to
Oh,
be
yes,
there.
and I did that when I was writing because I was
Right.
raising kids.
You just have
Okay?
to be, you have, there is a connection in the flow, in the
Yes,
zone. There is a bodily, spiritual, soulful, everything connection that when you're in that flow, it just, you're connected to every bit of whatever it is that you're doing. And hold on a minute, Suzanne. I want to put up this other
okay.
slide because I think this also shares what it means. So feel it, flow with it, infuse with it, believe it, and time to let the magic begin. So the magic is in experiencing what the flow feels like,
Yes,
right?
yes,
So this is like a recipe for for getting to the zone, for getting in the flow. You know, you've got to really feel it. You've got to let it in, embrace it, flow with it, not try to control it.
yes,
Right? That's a big
definitely.
deal. Is that right?
Yes.
What else? What else?
Um, I think you have to, like you said, I think you really have to. A lot of people say they would love to do this and they would love to do that. And I say, then do it. You have to make that first step to say, I'm going to do this. And then just do it because you could put things on the back burner forever.
Mm-hmm.
People, when they think I'm talented because I paint, whatever, I tell them you can paint. I believe everybody has a creative ability. It's a matter of finding what it is.
So here's a question on the chat from Kathy. And Kathy says, "How is this different from mindfulness?
Totally different.
Explain how."
Okay, mindfulness is an act of making. I think when you're in the zone, there is no mindfulness about it. It takes you. You don't take it. It's not. It's not your mind. It's your soul.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think that's true about passion. I don't think passion and mindfulness are really similar.
So mindfulness, you are not in the zone, or you are in the
No, because
zone.
I think you're consciously. I think when I'm in the zone, I'm unconsciously doing what I'm doing.
Unconscious. Well, I think there's something to be said about the difference. I think there is something different. That's an excellent question, Kathy. So there is a difference between being conscious and being coherent, or being in this flow that.
Because you get lost in the in the flow. You get lost in it. You don't get lost when you're being mindful.
Okay, so being mindful is something you turn on and turn off.
Yeah,
Like
I
I
think
can
you're
say-
targeting something when you're being mindful.
Right. So it is somewhat being in the zone, but maybe not in the flow.
Oh no, you're right, Marilyn. That's it. Your mindfulness is being in a different kind of a zone where you're actually being mindful of something in particular, and making conscious. Usually, when you're mindful, you're making a conscious decision to be mindful and to. I don't know. Mindfulness to me has more to do with decision making than passion.
Maybe so. That's really interesting, because I honestly, this is very interesting. The difference between being mindful and being in the flow. Kathy, if you have experience with being mindful, I would love to hear from you.
Have a call in because
Yeah.
you know what? You know what's interesting? I think, and I really feel bad for people that don't understand being in the zone of the flow or even having a passion for something, because not everybody does.
One of the things
You know-
I learned when I read this book, and this is a long time ago about the flow, is that if you're in the flow, in your flow, that flow transfers to me. I can feel the energy of that flow. And so can the next one. And all of a sudden, they can feel it in China.
Yeah, but you know why?
Why?
That is the difference between mindfulness and being in the flow, is enthusiasm.
Well, enthusiasm, and maybe mindful is just for me.
Right.
Being in the
Enthusiasm's
flow,
contagious.
yeah. Exactly. Being in the flow, and I'm not is busted.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I
Yeah, go ahead.
think they go hand in hand.
Well, I think
Suziani?
yes. Yeah, go ahead.
Suziani, when you want to paint, how does it happen?
Ooh, that's a good
Right.
question.
How does it happen?
That's a very good question.
Okay.
What's
I
the
can't,
trigger?
when I need to paint, I can't not paint.
Okay, no,
No,
I
that's not what
understand.
he's
I
asking
understand.
you. What do
That's
you
not what I
start?
said.
How do you
are-
start?
You are
How do you
sitting,
start?
You are sitting on the commode,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, it's a very
Would
good
you
question.
get up right in the middle and start painting because your head is telling you to do it? No. You say, okay,
Yes.
you know what? Right
Yes.
now,
No. Yes. That is no. That's true. Okay. That's absolute. When that creative juice when that muse hits me, okay, I have to stop what I'm doing, get out the canvases, prime a canvas or two, and just start painting.
I understand. But you are mindful of what you are about to be doing. Then when you are getting into it, you can get into the zone and just let it flow. When you're saying,
I think he's got a point
after the
there.
show, I'm going to pick up my guitar. Okay, you see, this is not happening just
It's a-
because you feel like it. You are already making plans. That's mindful.
So mindful is a focus.
is a pre.
It's a focus.
Okay. Wait. I have to add a caveat to
ahead.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
When David, here's the exact instruction that I got to play the guitar. David said to me, "I'm going to teach you the Zen way of learning guitar." He said it only takes 3 things. Every day, you take out the guitar. That's number 1. Number 2, you tune it. And number 3, you play it. He said to me, if you do this every day, you will become a guitar player. And that's the instruction that he gave me. And he was right. So I do that religiously. Okay, I will not go to bed. If I've had a busy day and things kept me from taking that guitar out, I will not retire for the day. I don't care if it's midnight until I do it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the only conscious part about it. After that, hours pass, and you just become, and I do. The guitar becomes an extension of me. My bicycle becomes an extension of me. My camera becomes and the paintbrush becomes an extension of me.
So listen. So there's somebody on the chat, OJ, and I love what OJ is saying. OJ is saying mindfulness just means being here now. So it's a focus, okay?
Right.
It's a conscious focus rather than being swept away by thoughts or abstractions right? Hypotheticals. So there is a point of mindfulness.
She just said it.
Yeah.
You are mindful of what David told you.
Being mindful of what you eat.
And that's where the
Yes.
mindfulness ends.
Yes.
Once I have the guitar in my hand, I'm in the zone.
Yes.
So I agree with Amnon.
Right. That's why, and Kathy was saying, they go hand by hand, hand in hand. Whether you begin with mindfulness or flow, yeah. And when you are done with it, what do you do when you're done at 12 o'clock?
Oh my God. The songs play in my head as I'm trying to go to sleep. I'm going over the chords. I'm actually playing in my sleep. It never ends.
Yeah, but you see, you finish, and then you say, okay, I'm going to go to sleep. You're mindful of your surrounding.
Right.
You know what you're
an
supposed
awareness.
to do. Right, it's awareness.
It's
but
an awareness.
while you're in it...
Well, I have to be honest.
Yeah.
I do not stop playing the guitar until my fingers hurt. Then I stop.
Why? Why do you stop?
Because my fingers hurt. And they need a
you
rest.
see? There's my point again. You are mindful and you are aware that your fingers are hurting. So you stop. The flow will stop because you make it somehow stop. Because you say, now look, I'm not going to hurt myself. I am not going to get to a point where I'm not going to be able to play tomorrow.
Right.
So I'll better stop right now and give my fingers a break. That's mindfulness.
I know, but I think of mindfulness differently than Amnon does.
Okay,
I
go ahead.
think
That's fine.
That's good.
I think
I always think, listen. I think a lot of different things about Amnon. Trust me. Go ahead. Go ahead. That's what...
You know what I love about him, Amnon? That he has an opinion, and we're getting the testosterone angle.
Well,
Got nothing to do with that.
Yeah. You're really... Go
No,
ahead.
seriously, not just on this show. I'm talking about other shows.
Oh,
We get the male perspective.
So Kathy says she can see that being mindful might be different when you're in the flow. Difficult
Yes.
when you're in the flow.
Yes,
Of
that's
course.
true.
It interferes.
So it is a zone, being mindful, but it's not. But it may not be the flow.
Well, good point.
So I didn't intend to do this, honestly, but it was so interesting, and my Thursday Google Hangout is all about the flow and the zone, and now I'm going to have to bring in mindfulness. So please, everybody.
Oh, we have to be mindful of the time. It's 2:00.
No, it's no.
Now.
Oh, now, right. Oh, thank you. I'm in the flow. Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Google Plus. If anyone out here is listening and you want to get into this some more, I have about 8 or 9 other people that are in the hangout with me, and we're going to be talking about the flow and the zone. And now I'm going to ask questions about mindfulness because it's an extraordinary group of people, and there are lots of people.
Is that online, Marilyn?
Yeah. And I'll post it on Facebook.
Send me a link for it.
Okay, yeah. Oh, you will love it. Oh, you'll love it. I'll post it on Facebook and, where else? Oh, on the Breaking Free page on Facebook, and I put it out all the time, but I'll put it out. So anybody that's listening, it's a great time to also communicate about these things. There's other people in there talking, and everybody's brilliant, and it's wonderful. We talk about listening in regards to these things. So we talk about listening for the flow, listening in the flow, listening in the zone. And what we're doing right now is a form of listening, right? Or is listening. We're listening for the difference that we recognize that makes up mindfulness, makes up the zone, makes up the flow. And OJ, I don't know, let's see, you're really great here, and I would love whoever you are to please join us on Thursday, as well as Madge and Suziani and Chris, everybody, Kathy, whoever's in the chat, and everybody listen.
There's a Sarah in the room.
Sarah?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. Everybody, anybody that wants to continue this conversation, because you can't just have these conversations once and walk away. They're too good. We want to keep having these conversations. That's why we're trying some different things with this show, so that we can do these things. So I can be jumping out of my seat, and Amnon can, and people can get all roused up and come together and talk about these things, because it is exciting. So it is 2:00.
Marilyn, I have
Yeah.
to say something.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
know I emailed you this or I commented this to you before, but when you decided that you were going to take voice lessons and you learned to sing, and then you posted the video of you singing, I knew then that I was going to play the guitar.
Really?
Because singing was what you always wanted to do, and
Yeah.
I always wanted to be in a rock and roll band.
Yeah. And that's
So-
interesting. Thank you for saying that, because I really like singing. I continued my lessons for a little while. I really don't have a really great voice, but I felt there was a few words that I sang and I knew I was in the zone. I knew I was right there. I could feel it. And I am not a great, stop it. I am not a great singer. Trust me.
Marilyn, I can't sing to save my ass.
I can't. I really can't. But I knew when I felt that I was in the zone, in like 2 or 3 words of Let It Be, I knew I was right there in the beat. So anyway, this has been all kinds of fun. I love it. Thank you very much, Suziani, for coming here.
Thank you, Marilyn, for having this show every week.
Oh, it's my pleasure. And both about not thinking. Right. OJ says the zone and mindfulness, both are about not thinking. Exactly. It's going with the flow. But mindfulness,
I think mindfulness is
yeah, I think
mindfulness
is thinking, actually. It is thinking.
You're
being mindful of something. You're being thoughtful. I'm mindful of what I'm going to eat today. I'm thoughtful. But I would love...
Yeah,
No.
I agree.
Okay,
Thoughtful, and
OJ
there's
says
thoughtful in the zone.
no. But, okay, so OJ, please, whoever you are, and maybe I know you, I don't know, please come and join us next time. We can talk about anything we want. We can talk about this. You can tell me I'm wrong. That's great. I'd love to hear it. Come on Thursday, everybody, 11 a.m. Eastern Time to Google+. I'm going to post the link. You're all welcome to come. And this is a ticket to speak your mind. This is a license. I give it to you. A free license to speak your mind about anything you want. Anytime. I don't care what it is. I may know it. I may not know it. But I'm on the same journey. I'm excited to figure it out, or at least to... maybe not figure it out, but at least to, I don't know, to question. Right, Suziani?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Definitely.
terrific.
And by the way,
Flow with it.
you and I are good examples of you can teach old dogs new tricks.
Heck yeah. I'm going to be 61 on Thursday, so.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're catching up with me.
Oh, my God, 61 I am. How old are you?
I'm going to be 63 this summer.
Oh, okay. Well, you are a pleasure to catch up with. Thank you, everybody out here. Madge, mwah, thank you for being here today. And everybody, mwah, love you all. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week. Bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, The Tanya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.